A warm and glorious welcome back to Court Farm for episode 3 with me, MrSealyp. Back here on Court Farms, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm up at Wolvers Hill, up at the store, and we've come up to get a roller. We're doing seed bed preparation. There's a lot going on up here, and I'll explain what's happening. So we've got the KCC Puma. We've done the ploughing. I recorded a time lapse, or in preparation for a time lapse. It took 2 hours, just under 2 hours. Well, brilliant. I'll edit that together. Me going across the field, doing all the ploughing, awesome. And I deleted the footage by mistake. I went through clearing out the stuff from the previous episode and got rid of it. So I've got to do the same job now, but I'm rolling. So like I said, we're not going to seed directly onto the ploughed field. You wouldn't do that in real life. We're not going to do that here. I have been keeping a tally of what we've been doing on the fields for the contracting and what we're going to charge. Up here, Court Farm's already pre-purchased some seed, so they've got a load sitting here already, ready to go. That'll be collected when we get onto the seeding portion, but that won't be till into September. Now, we've also got sat here, KCC has taken on contract work for other farmers. We've got a cultivating contract, we've got a fertilising contract, we've got a harvesting contract. Now this is something, again, especially when you're running seasons and you've got a planting window, a harvesting window, you don't want crops to perish and you know, go bad. So around here we have got we've got a lorry and we've got a trailer, we've got a harvester and a header trailer, and I've got to look at the fact that, and this is juggling contracting work. I suppose if you're running a contracting company, you've got to look at, oh, I'm on the wrong one. If I go on to KCC, and then we'll go back up, I'll show you what we've got. Right, so the cultivating contract, fertilising contract, and the harvest contract, wheat. So I've got to go to Longmeadow stores. We haven't started that yet. So what I've got to do is look up and have a look at our planting and harvesting window. So the wheat at the top there, we can harvest right the way through to the end of September. So we've got time to get that harvest contract done. Had we been at the end of the harvest season now, I would be saying, okay, I'm going to have to put off doing the rolling. I'm going to do the harvesting now because we don't want that to go wrong, you know. And then we're going to move into the canola planting season, or we're in the canola planting season now, but in September. So I want to get the rolling done, ready for that. Then we'll move on to do that contract work on the harvest. It's just a case of, like I've always said about jigsaw puzzles, it's about getting all the pieces, all your ducks in a row, and lining stuff up to make sure it all works. So we have leased a Gutler. This is the, what is it, ASL Master? I think it is. There were a couple I looked at. I was looking at different rollers. One's, you know, not the Dalbo ones, just something a little bit different. This is a 6.4 metre. I'm not going 24 metre wide, anything crazy. What would be kind of realistic for the farming and for the area and that kind of thing. There was a 6 metre PB5 by Blendart, which was a 6 metre. This is 20 grand if you buy it. We've only leased it for just over £1,000. But the other one was, I think, 1,000 or something to buy. It was really cheap for a 6 metre roller, which was pretty cool. But we've got this, the Gutler. So I'm going to take this down to the farm, and I'm going to get the rolling done tonight. I'm going to start to lose the light, I know I am, but I want to get the seed bed prep done. And then what we'll do is, as we go into September, we'll get back up here. Court Farms, I've still got time to get the planting done. So I know that Kaleb said he wanted the canola in the ground as soon as possible because of the flea beetle situation. Actually, I'll leave that front one on. But I've got time to get this done tonight, and then as we go into September, we've still got time to get the harvest done that we need to get done, and we can get the planting done of the canola on Court Farm. So we've got a few jobs and bits and bobs we're going to be cracking on with. And like I say, I know I said in the last episode, I'm enjoying that kind of the freedom of being a contractor. The fact that the farmers they've got their bank accounts, they've got their worries about their finances. I haven't got to worry about finances at the moment. All I've got to make sure is I've got enough money to eat. I can feed myself, I can get to and from work, and I can just crack on. And it's a very freeing thing, you know. I guess it's no different to people that say that I'm just going to come on play, I'm going to put in a load of money, buy what I want, do what I want, come and go as I please, and just enjoy the farming. And that's what this is. Because I'm not saying to myself, like I always do when I get onto a farm, wow, that was an interesting term for that caravan. It's normally that kind of, I'm aiming towards, you know, I want to get a farm, I want to have cows, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to have my own farm, I want to have my own machinery. Because I'm not putting that pressure on myself to say, I want to have this, this and this. All I'm doing is working for someone else. When I'm done at the end of the day, I can go back to Myrtle Farm holidays, I can crash and not worry about it until tomorrow morning. But it is interesting keeping an eye on everything, working in conjunction with Kaleb for, you know, the contract, the things that I need to be aware of, things I need to be doing, and, you know, thinking about if I were contracting in real life, it's juggling all of that stuff. It's making sure you're going to the right places at the right time, doing the right jobs at the right time, that it all slots into place. You're using everybody as efficiently as you possibly can, and not missing anything. And what I'm going to do this time, rather than go through the gate, I'm going to go this way around. We'll go down the lane and into the field. And I know I said I'm not driving and stuff. I'm not so bad. I'm enjoying the immersion. I'm enjoying that feel. So what should happen now, in theory? I could have used a cultivator, I could have used all sorts of stuff. That should, there we go. I've got to make sure I'm far enough over that we are actually catching it all, and we're not. Let's raise it up. Got to get my alignment just right. So what am I looking at here? I'm looking at that left, let's get more lights on, that left light cluster. That left light cluster is in line with the side of the field. If I drop this down now, am I catching all of it? Not quite. It's starting to come over a little bit. Let's go from behind. Oh, we're alright. I love that sound. Right, so that's right. Let's look. Oh no, it's that. Sorry, we are further over. It's that left wheel arch fender. If I look at the left fender, if I keep that lined up with the edge of the field and then the edge of the next bit, we should be okay. So I said this is going to take ages because I've got this field to do, and I've got field, was it 56? Was this 56? Was this 57? I can't remember now. Let's check. We are... No, that's one we want. Yeah, we're on 56. So 56 and 57 have both been, if we go back to our there and we put needs ploughing back on, you'll see they've both been ploughed now. So they have been ploughed, and you can see from the ground they've been ploughed. So now it's the rolling situation, although that's saying needs rolling. Oh yeah, that's because I haven't planted anything yet. I'm rolling to get the seed bed. I'm not rolling because I'm trying to get the 5% bonus after seeding. This is rolling just to get the seed bed in preparation, because I would not plant directly onto this. You know, it's way too bumpy. You just wouldn't. And again, I know I'm added in steps that you don't necessarily need to, but would you in real life? Absolutely you would. I mean, I'm saying that, I can't imagine. Yeah, but that's the whole point of seed bed preparation, is to get it as smooth as possible so everything works as well as possible. You get the best seed to ground contact, and if you're trying to, unless you're doing potatoes and you're doing ridging and stuff, direct planting onto a ploughed field is not the best way to go about things. I haven't actually had any more feedback since the last episode. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing with those bales now, whether we are selling them or we are keeping them for cattle. And I spoke to Kaleb as well. He said he's got 100 cows, and he messaged me the other day to say that it had been rained off the field and he was going to sort the cows out. So I said, are you feeding and mucking out? And he said, no, just feeding and moving them onto new grass. So I said, I'm assuming they're out. And do you have electric fencing, or do you move them field to field? And he said, oh, no, it's field to field is what he's doing with them. He was moving them to a new field for more grass. And I said, because I didn't know if the message he sent me on here saying that I've got 100 head of beef that I need a home for was just for this, or whether it was real. So I said, do you actually have 100 cows? He said, yeah, I have. I've got 100 cows. So I had no idea. There you go. So that's something we've got to look at moving forward as well. And again, they're not mine. They're not for me to worry about. All I've got to worry about is the feed, and I think we're going to go down the silage route, because he said about using the silage clamp at Court Farm. Now I don't know if the actual farm itself has got. I don't think the barn does 100. So the other thing I'm thinking is Stonebridge Farm down the road, but then that means buying. Oh no, we could buy the pasture. Yeah, maybe. Depends if we've got enough money. Maybe we could get the pasture. So what we'll do, quick check behind. Yeah, we seem to be bang on actually with that. I could probably come over a little bit more. We've got a bit of an overlap, but it's not too bad. Some of the stones are going back into the ground, but not all of them. Anyway, so I've got a lot to do, so I will see you. Like I say, I might do a time lapse on this if I don't delete it by accident, and then we'll be into September, and we've got more work to crack on with. I'm not sure if I'm going to do an invoice like I did when I did it Edgewater. I suppose we should really, if we are doing contracts, and I should itemise what we've been doing, and I guess we should. Well, as you saw, we got it done. The rolling is sorted. It's a glorious morning here. I mean, absolutely glorious. We can't quite see through the hedge. Can I get through the hedge here? Got to show you. Oh, look at that. Stunning. Just the wind blowing through the grass. This is honestly, I don't know. I know it. There are lots. I did have a message the other day, and people saying, "Oh, you're just doing it because it's an Oxygendavid map, and everyone just, you know, blows smoke in places, that kind of thing." And I'm not saying there aren't other maps out there that are fantastic. Of course there are, but it's that combination, like I said before, of feeling a certain way. Mentally, emotionally, whatever it might be, and then like I said, mods, maps, things that speak to you, things that make you remember things that make you evoke a feeling and a response. And I've said that before, whether that's a writing, a book, a poem, a painting, or something evokes something from you, an emotional response. That means the person who has made that, done that, has done their job. I mean, that, at the end of the day, oh, I'm not going to lie, last night, when I finished doing the rolling, I went out to take a look and see where we were contracting this morning, because we need to get that harvest contract done first. We need to get that in off the field and sorted. That's going to Longmeadow Stores, I think it is. So I drove out to find the field. And, well, I'll show you when we get out there, but I didn't go this way. I went through out past the farms here and across the countryside. And as the sun was going down, I stood by the gateway, looking across the field, watching the wind blowing the wheat in the field. It felt like I was out in the real place. I just stood. I don't know how long I was sat here on the game, stood by a field, watching the wheat blowing and the sun going down. It was amazing. I mean, absolutely amazing. Craziness. Would I have gone out and done that in the countryside where we are? Could have done if it hadn't been pouring with rain. I think it's going to pour with rain again today. Right rubbish weather now. We had that tiny little Indian summer, what, 3, 4, 5 days of up in 30-degree heat, and then that drops off, and now it's rubbish again. We're back to autumn, winter time. So we might be a bit early here. I don't know what time they open. It's all the contract equipment. Actually, I think it opens automatically at that time. Can I open the gates before then? Oh, I can. That's all right. So last night, like I say, I took a drive out, had a look. What I also did was took the lorry and the trailer out and parked that up. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to park up here. Actually, I don't want to be in the way. I'll swing around. I'm just thinking, because the harvest is quite big. I have to say, for the roadways, the lanes and stuff, it is quite a big harvester, but we'll do our best. Right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab KCC's case, and I'm going to take the harvester header out on the header trailer with the tractor, because I think it's going to be easier for getting in and out of the fields, I think. So yeah, contracting work is continuing. That's what we're doing. It's still farming. What's interesting as well is, because of the way we're looking at, because I've got that document from the NAAC, the National Association of Agricultural Contractors, that Sam sent me, and I've been looking at the pricing and that kind of stuff. I'm working out on the fields per hectare and per acre, but per hectare, with the jobs we've been doing, what the sort of charges would be for that. And like I said before, the problem is, because the in-game economy doesn't support that unless you go into hard mode. And even at hard mode, it's still not quite there, because the contract I'm doing, this harvest contract for KCC, pays 10 grand, and then there'll be, if there's any crop left over, which, you know, is often the case. If there's not, there's not. If there is, great. But the contract pays 10 grand for one harvest contract. It's a big field, to be fair. Now, in real life, contracting harvesting on the field the size we're doing, you wouldn't get paid 10 grand. So it's trying to balance the in-game economics, which are set a certain way, to in real life. If you do it in real life, honestly, I don't know how farmers make any money. I really don't. I know a lot of them say they, people struggle now. This is our entrance to the field, which is the field just here. But again, look at this, right? With the sun coming up, could you not just, pull up a camping chair and just sit, have a brew, make a coffee, just sit and watch the wind blow in the crops and watch the sun come up? Do a sketch, do a watercolour painting, just enjoy it. Oh, anyway, should have opened the cakes, that's what I need to do. But the gate opens the wrong way. Oh, I don't know, we might have a bit of room there. It's going to be tight, it's going to be very tight. So, I bought the lorry up, parked up there. I'm going to open up the harvester now because I always forget. So I'll swing around this way to see if we can get in the gateway. Now there is another gateway. It's right the way around there. I think there's no gate. See that little bit of hedge that juts out into the field? If you go to the map, I can show you on there. So we're here at field 46. So here, I think there's a gateway or a gap in the hedge here. There's also a gateway. This is where I drove last night. I drove down this lane, down here. There's a gateway in here as well, which is more direct, straight in, which might be a bit easier, but there's a lot of thin country lane to get to it all the way down here. So it's kind of, it's choosing your battles. Actually, you know what? That's not going to help because I need it narrow, and we've unfolded the ladder sticks out. So can I get in? Like I say, this is a big harvester for these sorts of lanes. It's not the sort of thing. I don't even know if we're going to get through this. Yeah, and with the pipe extended, it might have been a little bit tricky as well. Oh, we might do. Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're talking centimetres, and we're going to get onto the crop, which I didn't want to do. Oh, we're right on the edge. If I can back that along here a little bit, because we need to get the harvester header in. And what I'm going to do is take the harvester header in that direction, that way. There's a tree there as well, to try and connect to it without going to the crop. Now I've got crop destruction off. I don't ever run it on. I've said that before. I still don't drive over crops and stuff. Oh man, look at that. It's a thing of beauty. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Right. Doing this, getting back to the grassroots farming, of enjoying each operation. Of spending the time, taking the time to appreciate what you're doing. And that's not for everyone. Like I thought, the problem is because we do live in this world of everything needs to be immediate and now. And, that rule of thumb of YouTube and, Vines and TikToks. I don't think it's even Vines anymore, are there? Vines and TikToks and all this stuff. You can't keep a person's attention for more than 30 seconds. That YouTube rule of thumb of your video shouldn't be longer than 5 minutes, and if you don't grab a person's attention the first 20 seconds, you'll lose your audience. It's like, when did we become that society? When did we become like that we can't hold someone's attention for more than 5 minutes, and if you don't grab their attention the first 20 seconds, it's like, wow, really? It's quite scary. I'm not going to get through there. I'm just thinking, the width of that, the angle I need to go at, that's my angle. Obviously, the tighter your angle goes, the narrower that becomes. Obviously, the widest being directly straight on. I'm just looking at the angle I'm coming at this from. I don't think I'm going to get in there. So I may have to rethink. I mean, could I drive straight through the hedge? Yes, of course I could. Could we simulate me chopping someone's hedge down? Of course we could. That's a good point, actually. Not that I'm going to chop the hedge down. That's not what I'm saying. That's a good point. Shall I just chop the hedge down? We are harvesting for Jenna Hartman. We're fertilising for Michael Hammond. Oh, we're cultivating for Jenna as well. Oh, that's cool. I'm not cutting Jenna's hedges down. There's no way. So, I just don't think I've got the angle here. I'm going to catch that fence post right there. So, first entrance was a no. Second way in is a no. Narrow bridge over a watercourse, tight way in, can't turn, not getting in that way. Which means, back to the map. If we look on our map, I need to now get to this lane. So I can go all the way along, then I've got to turn in. No, turn in here. Which coming that way isn't going to work. But now I'm stuck down a tight lane, which means I've got to go out to the end here anyway. So this is, this is that lesson. Is if we're doing contract work, if we're taking on contracts, if we're borrowing farmers' equipment to do the contracts, I'm going to have to look very carefully at the size of equipment that's being offered. So I'm good thinking, oh, that's a nice big harvester. We'll get that nice big field done nice and quickly. Lots of nice in there. Not necessarily going to work. And again, could I have cheated? Yes, of course. Could I have just driven straight through the hedge? Yeah, of course I could have done. Should I have done? No. Actually, you know what I can do here? Just looking for a big enough gap. We might be able to turn around. Alright, let's get into that field there. Turn around in here, and we'll go back round, and I'll come in from the field the other end, and we'll see if we can get this to work. It's all about solving problems. Without going into rivers, watercourses, ditches, fence posts. You wouldn't believe the game I just had trying to turn that round. I didn't even want to record it. I'm not even sure I'm going to get headed through that gap where that tree is. This is all very awkwardly placed. I don't know if that's been done on purpose, but regardless, we can get the header on there. And we're raised up a little bit higher than the hedge, maybe. Just thinking if we can just... because we're kind of technically over the hedge. Kind of. All I've got to do is turn at an angle enough. Got to mind there's a fence there. This is horrendous. Oh no, we might be right. Actually, I want to start. I want to start there. Slow that. Reel a little bit. So I don't drive over anything. I mean, there we go. I'm not leaving straw sort of swath on. We are not buying the straw from this. Looks like there's weeds on the ground as well. And yes, I know I'm going the wrong way. That was just so I could get onto the field and get started. What I'm going to do now. Swing that around. And we can crack on. All part and parcel. And this is what I was talking about when I was saying before about when you think about hooking up your 3-point links, hooking up all your hydraulic lines, your spool valves, making sure everything's running properly, preventative maintenance, greasing everything up, making sure, you know, if you have any breakdowns, any issues, any problems with connections, you know, watching Lionel Farmer, every time he gets in one of his lorries, they won't start, battery charges, all that kind of stuff. And this sort of thing as well. Admittedly, if this was your field, I know we're contracting, but if this was your field and you had your own harvesters and whatever, when you plant your field, you would plant it in such a way that you knew that your entryway to that field, you have got enough room to get in with your header, with your harvester attached without going to the crop. But also you want to maximise the amount of field use you've got for your crop. You don't want to take up half an acre of ground to manoeuvre a harvester around. That's half an acre you could have a crop on. So it's balancing, you know, where do you find that bit of ground, you know. Entryways and exits to farm fields being incredibly important. Like I say, would you really on a field like this, with the entryways this field's got, be running a harvester like this? No. We got a lot of track bounce there. It's coming off the ground. The header's on the ground, but the track's coming off. That was interesting. I assume it's a little bit bubbly down there. Yeah, you can just see as you come up this little bit that's sticking out here, up just the top. There's a little gap there in the hedge to get into the field there. But there was just no way I was making that turn. It's one of those ones that, if directly opposite, if that field had a wider, if it had a wide gap into the field opposite, I could have turned in with the harvester in that field, turned round in the field, then come directly across the bridge. It could have worked, but not in this situation. I think Longmeadow Stores is out this way actually. That's probably not a bad idea to check that now while we're on here. Is we are harvesting field 46 and Longmeadow Stores is out here. So when we do fill up the lorry, that's going to be a game. How are we going to get the lorry in? I just suddenly realised that's got a long trailer on it. How are we going to get that in the field? Hats off to articulated lorry drivers as well. If you do it for, I know Heavy Metal Gaming does, and Dozer John for definite. They're two I definitely know of. There's a few other guys that message me a lot. Hats off to you guys who do this for a living. So it won't be so bad once I've cleared up, done one round, if I can get round before it fills up. I can't here, can I? Because there's a water course. I was thinking if I put the pipe over the hedge, we could do a first unload over the hedge, and then once I've cleared out over by that gate, we can drive the lorry in onto the field that side, which we might have to do. But I'm just thinking we might fill up before we get round to that gate. So what I might have to do is drive the harvester back to where we started and put the pipe over the over the hedge, and then unload into the lorry that way. Just a little bit too tight to turn there. We'll get this contract done in this episode, if nothing else. I'm enjoying the chat, I'm enjoying, like I said before in the first couple of episodes, I'm just enjoying just the farming. Sometimes, I say sometimes, it should always be about the journey, not just the destination. I know that's not always the case. Sometimes you just need to get to where you're going as quickly as possible, as efficiently as possible, because that's what is important. But in certain circumstances, enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. And I'm absolutely doing that. I can't wait till we move through the seasons. There's all sorts of stuff supposed to be on here, you know. I'm just really looking forward to that seasonal change across the map. No, we might. We're going to get up there, do you reckon? It means me bringing the lorry up. But the weird thing was, I drove the Land Rover out to that gate. The gate we're coming to now, that's where I drove the Land Rover to. And I stood by that gate, with the sun going down, with the crops all around me, it was brilliant. Oh yeah, we are going to get past there, no problem. And I didn't think then, oh, I should bring the lorry in this way. I thought I would be right at the other end. Just didn't even dawn on me. I thought possibly the header and header trailer might be a problem, but didn't think about the articulated lorry. Should be able to sweep on this one, it's not too bad. Oh, that filled up quicker than I thought. Right. I've got to drive around the block now. See you in a minute. You know what? That's the angle I couldn't get. I think because the header trailer was a little bit too long, this actually worked. I didn't think I was going to get in there. But I think because we can swivel completely round on ourselves, that works. Brilliant. Didn't have to go all the way around. So, I will carry on now, get this done. Once we've got a full load, we'll go to Longmeadow and we'll get the first unload done. I think, yeah, we're going to get more than one full load off here, I think. If we do have any left over, just thinking, we might just stick it into the silo at Court Farm, actually. That kind of cooperation, we don't have a silo, we don't have a farm, if we have some left, and we could just sell it realistically, I guess, if we were contracting. If, I mean, like I say, in real life, would the farm say, oh, if there's any spare, you can have it? No, of course not. But there's a certain amount that will fulfill the contract. It's just part of the game dynamics, the game, the way it works, isn't it? But I'm just thinking, it would make more sense to keep it. I think the next thing we need to also think about, I say the next thing, we've got seeding to do, we've got contracts to complete, we've got cows to sort out a home for, and we need to be earning money to do that. That's why we're doing these contracts for other farmers as well as the Court Farm stuff. But Court Farms, we need to be looking at working with them about the livestock situation, being that it's Court Farm Country Park and people come to see the farm and the animals and that kind of stuff. Let's get animals in. Chickens we can get in the yard straight away. They've got some wheat we'd harvested for them, and if we have anything left over from this, we could put that in there to help them out with that. But then I suppose what we should do, if we're going to do that, they need to pay us for the wheat, because if the wheat's ours, you know, I don't know, it swings and roundabouts. We're kind of all helping each other out with bits of equipment and things like that, so I guess there's a little bit of favour for a favour type thing. Same thing I'm doing on Frontier, I guess. And also, we can do rabbits as well, can't we? We get some rabbits in. I can't remember what they need to be fed. Was it just grass? Because we've got grass work to do, we've got silage clamp work to do in preparation for cows. We've got a ton of stuff to do. It's 8:38 and we are done. The field is cleared. I said I'd see you when we did the first full load. First full load is done. Took it out to Longmeadow and that took us to 61% delivered. I think it was 61%, 60 something. This is where I came last time out. It's a little bit tricky. It is tighter getting out to the left than I thought it was going to be. Luckily, just opposite the farm that's just here, I just whizzed over and asked if it would be alright just to pop onto their grass field a little bit to turn. they said it wasn't a problem at all. I said it's only going to be a couple of loads, not like I'm backwards and forwards all day. I'm going to destroy everything. Talking of time, 8:39. The question was asked again about, and when I said I was running 3-day months. So again, it depends how you view it, how you want to go about it, your way of thinking, however you deal with it. Some people prefer to see the passing of time on each game day, so they want to see the sun coming up, going past noon, sun going down, and for them that's a day has been done. The thing is as well, we're back to that, the way it works with multiple days, unless you're running a 30-day month in game, so each day is represented by a game day, you have to just accept the fact that each game day represents multiple days in a month. If I'm doing 3-day months, an entire month is represented by 3 game days, which means each game day represents 10 days in a month. Normally I do 2-day months, but I'm doing 3. So because I'm doing 3-day months, each day represents 10 days of the month. So every 2 hours 24 minutes, it's 2.4, isn't it? Yeah, 2 hours 24 minutes represents a day. So if a harvest takes me 2 hours 24 minutes, that's a day in the month. So an entire day of doing a harvest, which I can't remember what time we started now. I don't think it's been technically an entire day. I know it's a weird thing to kind of wrap your head around. It's a strange way of going about it. People still are adamant I should speed up time, and this is just the way I do it. In my mind, that's how I work it out, and it works out just fine. Because it, like I say, it doesn't matter. You could do 3-day months, 5-day months. Speeding up time makes no difference other than you visually see the passing of time by speeding up time. Like I say, that only works if you're going to do a 30-day month. Because people will then argue, but you get too much done in each day. Well, yeah, but again, you've got to wrap your head around the fact that whilst I might be getting a lot done in a game day, that game day is representing 10 real days. I know, it's I don't know. That's just how I do it. Anyway, this is the route out to Longmeadow we're taking. Got to be, whoa! Oh, didn't do that last time. That's not good. Could have ended up in the drink then. Oh, right, okay, that side, brilliant. And out onto the lane, and we should be good to go. I mean, look at this view. Look. It's a strange phenomenon. I like to call the Oxy effect. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't really found it much with other map makers, but for some reason, people, and that's a sweeping statement, generalisation. There's this real. Some people seem to have a real problem with Oxygendavid. I think because whenever he brings out a map and it's like this, and people are fawning over it, and everyone wants to play on it, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at it! Isn't it amazing?" And no one is in any way, like I said before, no one is in any way saying that other maps aren't great. There are phenomenal map makers out there, and I've listed loads in the past. And again, it comes down to what style of map and what sort of thing you're looking for. But you can't deny, as you're driving, I'm driving around here. Oh, doesn't it just feel incredible? You know, and I don't know Oxygendavid personally. It's not like I've met the guy. We don't correspond or anything like that. It's not like he's my best friend. I know I used to say a lot of great stuff about Alien Jim's maps because I got on really well with Alien Jim and loved the stuff he did, and it was fantastic. But again, it comes down to your preference. Just because I might be saying I love this style of map and I love the way it feels and I love the way it makes me feel, that's not necessarily the way you're going to feel about it. I totally understand that. But like I say, I haven't really encountered that with other map makers. It seems to be, I don't know, it's an odd one. I don't know why people feel that way. And like I say, it's not detracting from any other maps. And like I said, Carpathian, I loved Carpathian Countryside. I had the same feel on that. It had an incredible look and a style. And GBmodding's maps, wow. You know, Six Ashes is still for me up there as one of my favourite maps. Drummard Farm back on FS17, or was that 15? 17, when we first had mods, wasn't it? I can't remember who made that, Drummard Farm. Again, it was a tiny map. I loved it. It just had such a great feel. You know, there are some amazing ones. So what we're going to do is keep an eye on the unload here. It's going to hit that roof, isn't it? Contract finished. Oh, that was good timing. So contract finished. We earned 550, which is pretty cool. We've got 9,341 litres left. Now I could, again, I'm not sure how Kaleb would feel about this. I don't know. Does this just get sold and we get paid the extra? Or should I take this up to court farms to be used for feed for chickens and stuff like that? I suppose technically as a contractor we should be selling it all. Because we're trying to make money, aren't we? But then the other side of me, that's normally when I'm planning ahead for where I want things to go, or how I want things to happen, I suppose really now as a contractor we should be doing this. If court farms want to buy feed in, they need to buy feed in. That's the best way of doing it, isn't it really, I think. And with that, harvest contract is complete on field 46, and it was for Gianna Hartman. We had 2 for Gianna, didn't we? So we have got a cultivating contract and we have got a fertilising contract to do. For the fertilising contract, Michael has provided us with some fertiliser as well. That's there, given to us. I'm looking at some of these baling contracts. 18 grand for silage bales, but we've got so much other work we've got to do. But it's that thing of, if we're going to do contract work and we need to be earning money, because if we do need to buy a plot of land, if we do need to buy a cow pasture, we need some money coming in. So on top of doing the court farms contract work, we do need to be focusing on contract work that's going to bring us in money. Not that the court farm stuff isn't going to bring us in money, but like I said earlier, it's that thing of looking at realistic pricing for contract work and looking at in-game pricing. If we're going to buy £100,000 plot of land for a cow pasture that's got a cow pasture on it, if it is 100,000, actually that's probably not a bad idea. We need to check that as well, don't we? If we were looking at, and I can't remember which plot it was, down here at Stonebridge, it's that one there, 186 is the cow pasture. Oh, it's 89. Okay, that's not as bad then. 89,112, that's the cow pasture, I'm sure it is. And I'm sure that does more than 100 cows. That's the one I think we're going to have to be looking at, because the court farms is 50. So I thought that was going to be up in the hundreds of thousands, but we're still going to need enough money to buy that to put KCC's cows in. Yeah, so it's that balance of how, you know, what do we do? I mean, do I take on that contract and borrow equipment to do it? I suppose I should really, shouldn't I? I did have one problem. With this contract that we're on now, when I borrowed equipment, I didn't get it all. This is leased. I'm being honest here, this is leased. This is not what we were supplied with. We were supplied with an American lorry, but the trailer didn't appear. I'm not quite sure why it didn't appear. We got the harvester header trailer. We got the lorry, but no trailer. And I also then thought, but that lorry doesn't fit this area, it doesn't fit this map. That's why I went with this one. We'll complete on that. This lorry shouldn't disappear because this isn't what came with the contract. So if I complete on that contract now, that does give us the ability now to borrow items. My worry now is, like I say, I had to lease these separately. Why did that say 8,906 income? That said 9,000 on the thing, didn't it? That was odd. Well, I'm going to see you back at the store now. I'm going to return these. I need to go back and grab the KCC's Puma, and I want to check to make sure the contract equipment we've just borrowed for doing that baling contract is there. Because if we're short of anything, again, we end up then having to lease, and it's extra lease costs for equipment we didn't really want to have to get. I think it's because it's quite a small yard, but it's also, again, this is kind of information sharing, if anything else, that I'm learning from doing contract work on here, is that you just need to be careful. If it's a contract that's either got big equipment or a contract that's got a lot of equipment, will it all spawn? Will it all be there? It could have been because I had a couple of other contracts. No, because I'd already moved. I'm just thinking, I'd already moved the contract equipment out of the yard at that point. But anyway, just to be aware of, I'll see you over there in just a moment, and we'll just double check that. Once we've double checked it, we'll be good, and we can end this episode and then move on to the next jobs, of which there are plenty. Okay, come back on the store. I did go back and close all the gates. Honestly, I didn't leave them. I suddenly thought, oh yeah, I've left all the gates open. So I did go back. I've double checked them. I can't see that way. We're looking. I think we're all right. So let's check equipment. Indicator off. We should have indicated come back in here again. So what we should have then, we've got the mower, we've got the tractor, we've got the windrower, we've got the baler wrapper, and we should have the loading wagon. This is the secondary kind of spawn area, spawn point. Please tell me the loading wagon's around here. Okay. That's weird. Where's that come from? I wonder if it's one of the other contracts. Okay, it is all here. That's good. I just had to make sure because, you know, don't want things going awry, do we? So the other thing's going to be... I can use the Land Rover for that, actually. We can take the Land Rover, take the seed over to Court Farm, ready for doing their seeding, which is going to need to be done. Oh, fertilising as well. That's a good point. We need to fertilise it first. I want to get some fertiliser down on the Court Farm fields. I keep saying Court Farms. Sorry, I know that's annoying some people. I keep saying Court Farms. I know it's Court Farm. It's just a slip of the tongue. I want to fertilise first, then seed. Or do I want to seed them? I can't remember if their seed has got seed and fertiliser, or whether or not KCC. I think they run a 6 metre. I'm trying to think now what Kaleb said he's got. I'm sure they've got a 6 metre seeder. So it's either going to be using the Court Farm seeder or going to be using one from KCC. But I guess what I should really do is move this out of the way. Start tidying some of this contract equipment up. So I've got to decide now, again, based upon planting and harvesting. I've got no other harvest contracts on at the moment. This is a KCC piece of equipment. So we were sent this and this. It then transpired when I spoke to Kaleb, he's got rid of the case, hasn't got it. I say he's got rid of the case. Well, I thought he had a couple. I'm sure his brother's got one, didn't he? I'm trying to think one of the Clarkson's Farm episodes, when they got Clarkson's Lamborghini stuck, they went and got one of the Claas tractors to pull him up the hill and it got stuck. Then they got a second one to pull them both. I'm sure one belongs to his brother. He had one, but I'm sure he said on an interview at Farmers Weekly that he had a small 520, a loader one. I've imagined that. Just trying to think where I should park this, really. I'm taking up all the space here at the store. I'll just stick it here for the moment. I need to get some of these contracts done. Hang on, lights all the way off. I need to get some of these done to clear some of this equipment. But anyway, that's the end of this episode. I know, like I say, it was pretty much one job. I suppose we had the time lapse of doing the rolling, and there was the mucking around with the gates and stuff, and getting harvest headers in. But that's all part and parcel of what we're doing. It is what it is. You've got to do jobs, and we've got to work out routes in now. Even things like this, I'm looking now thinking this might be a bit tricky to get into some entryways. I'm not even too sure. We probably need to check on the contract for this where it is. Baling contract on field 107. Field 107 is... oh, right there, right by Court Farm. Oh, over by, right next to field 54. Oh, that's quite handy. I'll have to work out how to get into there. I can always go into Court Farm, we can go from there. So what I'll do, actually, I'm going to take the mower up. We'll take the mower, get it out to Court Farm now. I'll start taking the equipment out there, ready to do it. And then I can crack on with other ones in probably the next episode. And we'll get all the seeding done and all the various different bits and bobs that need to be done. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're still enjoying it. Like I said, it's a slightly different style, slightly different way I normally do stuff. If you are enjoying it, please give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.